Hi, everyone. Welcome to Quantum Art with Wendy from the Indigo Doors. That is me. This video, I'm going to be sharing the painting that I created for the month of April 2024. And this painting, as you see here, is called Dream. So if you're listening this because you're part of our Quantum Power Deck subscription, welcome. And there's so many themes this month. There's so many things. Even if you're listening to this not during the month of April 2024, there's a lot of good information about the new earth, other sentient beings, our divine spark, so many beautiful things. So I hope you'll listen along and let me know what you guys think. This painting is pretty interesting because one, it's vertical. So whenever I'm creating a painting, it's going to be from spirit about how to connect to higher realms. So in that way, it is about expansion. So that is happening. And for this month, there is a lot of almost like polarities. There's extremes and energies going on right now. Partly why it's taken me so long to get this video out to you, because I'm moving through that and learning how to integrate those energies myself. So in that way, I really want to share with you information that's impactful in the human experience as we're moving through this spiritual awakening. So so there's a lot going on. There is a strong sense of light and dark this month. And Spirit really is saying this painting's beautiful and very peaceful. And so they're saying this energy is here available to us now. And it really is about choosing this, especially in times of darkness or especially in times of doubt. Even though we don't have to understand the aspects of everything, meaning we don't have to understand why we're feeling or doing what we're doing. In some ways we have to trust and surrender and keep choosing love and keep choosing this kind of reality. It's not always easy, is it? But that is the message that they're sharing this month, is this is here now. So this idea around old earth and new earth is really kind of elusive. It's, what does that even mean? And we've just begun to talk about it. We're going to talk about it more and more as the years go on. But it really is a paradigm shift. And that's why Brenda and I have always called it like shifting into a new paradigm. That's the best way and the easiest way to describe it. Because for that means it's just like a new way of thinking. It's a new way of being. It's a new way of really mastering the self, because there are even energies that are available to us now that have never been here before in any other of the thousands of years we've been here. Meaning, even if you have a remembrance of being human before, and maybe you remember a lot of your past lives, if this stuff comes easy to you, or you've moved through some harder things, you've been here before. And so in that way, this shifting into this new paradigm, the energy that's available to us and where we're expanding into as an experience, as a soul having a human experience, is like none we've never seen before, basically. So it's not easy, in that way. There's a lot of help here. So this month, you're probably really beginning to feel some of your abilities really expand. Maybe you can hear spirit more, or your intuition is really spot on, and you're really kind of learning the boundaries of your own intuition, and hopefully those are expanding further. The boundaries are expanding out, and that's a theme this month too. But what's available to us now is unlike anything that we've seen before. That's what they keep saying. And meaning the colors are different on the planet. Our ability to connect with the life force in other living things is something that we've never seen before. So really giving ourselves compassion and grace as we integrate it, because those are all beautiful things. But what that looks like on a human level is that you're going to become face to face with a lot of parts of your own shadow. And because of the extremes of these lights and darks that are occurring this month, your shadow will pop up in a way like never seen before. I know I've already said that, but and so really feeling into that, there's going to be parts of yourself that you're asking yourself to love more, to integrate into you. And for each person, that's going to be very individual and very specific, meaning it could be about relationships, it could be about work, it could be about receiving, it could be about control, it could, I mean, millions of different things here. So whatever's arising for you, really take notice, because this month really is about you getting more in alignment with your purpose and with who you truly are. So breathing that in. So if your shadows are triggered, know that nothing bad is happening. Like maybe your body's talking to you, or your anxiety is high, or whatever that is. It's like really learn how to take care of those parts, which means do the research. If you have never been to one of our retreats, we talk a lot about moving through the shadow and how to navigate that space. So you can join us there. But really, you deserve to learn how the body and the soul is talking to us in this reality, and really learn how to love and create more light in your bodies. Bodies meaning all of those spaces, the mental, the emotional, the physical, spiritual, all those bodies that we have. So, but you see this painting, the messages here are all about the throat chakra. I mean, hello, right? It is this opening, and the blue jay, which is blue, the color blue, and it's on crystals, right? And it's in this wintry scene, this magical wintry scene. And in that way, it's this person, this feminine person. So it is about the divine feminine. So even if you're a male, it's not about separating by gender. It's about really understanding your own internal being. I mean, we all have divine feminine, divine masculine aspects. The divine feminine is about knowing thyself. So we really are, and the Spirit has said to me that we're really being asked to master the self in a way, really learn how to love ourselves internally. That's what the next, they say, 5 or 6 years are going to be about, is really learning how to love the self. And for those that this resonates with, because maybe you've already been doing this, right? But it's on a new scale. And so if this resonates with you, you are being invited to expand more into who you are over the next 5 or 6 years. And that might seem like a long time, but there's so many gifts along the way. And it's how we really expand into this new earth, which we talk about in our podcast, if you haven't seen that, and maybe a little bit more in this as we move along here. So it is about mastering the self. So the divine feminine is all about that. It's about really knowing who you are. How do you see things? How do you feel about things? And you're going to be kind of put in situations where that's either challenged or that's really getting you to think about those things, because we're meant to really understand the self, and not in a selfish way, because know that we're naturally lovers, meaning as we begin to master the self and love the self, our cup overfloweth, and we tend to, even historically and even scientifically, they have done a lot of case studies where when people have a full cup, they tend to give and give and give to others. So I'm going to stay on that. I really love that, and I believe in that full-heartedly. So it is about really mastering the self, right? And really getting to know who you are. So your mission here this month is about authenticity. That's really what the voice is about. Our throat chakras is about, your own specific song, your unique expression in the world. And that is all connected to how you truly feel. And that is a very vulnerable space. How do you really feel about things? Like when you slow down and you connect, and that's what the winter scene is about. When you slow down to stillness, how is your relationship with stillness? Are you comfortable in that stillness? Or is it a scary space? If it's scary for you to have that, that's your internal sacred temple. And so Spirit would say that they're asking you to move in to create more of a positive space within your being. How do you talk to yourself here? that's another theme. But the sacred temple, so the stillness, how do you really feel? And when you are vulnerable, when you know that in that stillness, do you share that with others? Are you truly vulnerable? Now, I don't mean in control and collected and you understand things and then you share it. I mean, are you like raw and authentic and vulnerable with yourself first? And then are you able to do that with others? And those are the kinds of things that the Spirit's asking us. There's no right or wrong here, meaning, you're not meant to, it's just noticing you in this part of the expansion or the spiritual awakening process. Where do you feel safe to be your authentic self? Right? In the stillness. And the more you cultivate the stillness, right, through a spiritual practice, your own unique, whatever that is, it could just be mindfulness or meditation, or just, it doesn't even have to be religious. It just could be you in your car checking in with yourself, right? And saying, hey, how do I feel? What's going on with me? What do I really think about this? And really getting to know what those things are. And in that, it's magical. That's the point of this, is like the more you cultivate that and that kind of practice, it becomes very magical. It's like you begin to feel fed. And in some ways, you're really learning how to nurture and love yourself as you do those things. So it is about stillness this month, still practicing going within, cultivating that unique voice. And with that, that vulnerability and who and where you can express it, because we ultimately want to create that everywhere where we feel safe within us. So if somebody rejects us outside of ourselves, we've already dealt with the shadow aspect of ourself of rejection, to where it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And you might not be there yet, and we get better at it every day, right? We practice this. It's not about perfection. It's just about showing up and choosing love and loving these parts as they arise. So cultivating this just awareness, really. These are just questions for you to kind of think about in the themes this month. And so as you're thinking about that, an aspect of it also is what comes from the blue jay. The blue jay is part of the crow family, and it really is a powerful mimicker, meaning it can take on the sounds of other birds, and is pretty forceful. If you ever heard a blue jay, it's actually extremely forceful in sound, meaning it's kind of disturbing in some ways. It can definitely get your attention. So there's a lot of messaging in here. It's definitely about using your voice, right? So creating boundaries, meaning saying yes or no when things feel right or wrong to you, because it's all subjective, and creating boundaries around those things, around your needs and wants and how you feel. But it's also about this idea of mimicking. And what Spirit showed me was it really is about this people-pleasing aspect. Where are you people-pleasing? Where might you go along with? And it could be friends. It could be your partner even. It could be specific people from your kids' school. Just you noticing where you may be people-pleasing. Because the blue jay is like a shapeshifter. It can send out the projection that it's a different kind of bird. So it's about us, and where do we do that? Where do we give the idea? And it may be out of safety. You have to discover why you may be people-pleasing or sending out an illusion of who you are, right? Where do you do that? And we all have done that. As a human being, we all have done it. It's part of our culture, really, especially in the United States. Manipulating our throat chakras to show people aspects of ourselves that aren't even true, meaning hey, yeah, I love that movie, just because we don't want to deal with the conflict or to not go along with somebody else in front of us or whatever, right? You know what this means. But what's happening, especially now with this year and the intensity of the energy this year, is that type of behavior is no longer going to be able to come with us. like it's going to become more and more uncomfortable for your body, for your mind, for your heart to behave in that way, because it really doesn't align with your heart. It's not who you truly are. And so we go back to who you truly are, and then you, in some ways, this is where you're being asked to really face those parts of yourself where you may be people pleasing, where you may be even lying or manipulating people. And you know when you do that, okay? I'm not calling you out. You know if you do that or not. And try it on. Try on what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, and begin to notice. Maybe you don't even notice if you do it or not. You know, in our household growing up, lying was something that you just did. And has taken me years of, you know, that's partly because of the lying, how I try to be so impeccable with my word. It's really important to me to really share with how I feel. And I've gotten better at how I deliver that message, you know, but it's definitely a very important piece, this mimicking, because you have the ability to. You are a master survivor, right? You know when, especially if you're watching this, you're intuitive, you're empathetic, meaning you know what people want. And so you give it to them. But that kind of behavior and functioning can't come with us. It truly is about, it's time for you to be seen. And with our throats, we're seen, right? People actually can hear us and see us. They know what our hearts are saying and what our hearts feel. And so you are being asked to kind of look at that, and being asked to, for your higher self and your highest and greatest good, to see if that really does serve you. And is it aligned with your heart? Because in some ways we keep people at bay, and it is about receiving. This is another theme this month. It's about really learning how to receive. And for those of you where you've been in an environment where it's not safe to be heard or seen, there's probably an issue there with receiving, because receiving has been a dangerous thing. Or if you did receive, it was because you were maybe mimicking something else. So there's this condition of love, right? That you do this and they'll give you that. And so it's really about noticing and moving out of that system to where we can be authentic, we can be clean and pure with our thoughts and our words, where people can really see us, because it's then when we actually give people an opportunity to love us, to give them an opportunity to show up for us. And for those that can't or won't, you know, Spirit's saying it's going to be okay. It's about finding your people. And so that is kind of like this bittersweet theme this month. It's hard. It's not easy. There's a little bit of grief in there if you are in a moment where you might having to be saying goodbye to somebody, or, you know, yeah, just saying goodbye to people in your lives because it no longer serve you. But at the same time, it's about you learning how to love yourself even more with your throat, with your voice, with your authentic expression. It's about finding your people. And it's about sending an invitation out to the universe that you are ready to be loved, not only because you're doing it for yourself, but you're ready to be seen by maybe a partner that can see and validate you for real, right? And I don't mean everyone needs to break up. That's for you to decide if that resonates with you or not. You know, I'm not by any means advocating one or the other. It's really about you learning whether or not that aligns with you. So, the blue jay. But the blue jay, just like with all birds, they also represent, you know, connection to the other side, you know, into seeing and hearing other things. Because the other side of our throats, meaning the other aspect of our throats, is about working with like this quantum realm. And when I mean quantum realm, I mean like creating and manifesting physical reality with sound. I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff. That's Merlin-esque stuff, right? That we could actually create and manifest reality just by our thoughts and our words and our behavior a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. So when you align your throat chakra with your heart, meaning it becomes this powerful thing. And we've all heard speakers like Martin Luther King, and there have been many others, but he's the first that pops in my mind right now, that have been, they're very powerful speakers. And the reason why they're so powerful is because they've aligned their throats and their authentic expression with their heart, and their hearts are aligned with love. And when you do this authentic expression, when your thoughts and words are aligned with your heart, so it's not a universal kind of like a grand gesture of just overall just love everything. I mean, for you, do you love like race cars, or do you love, horses? Like, or, do you really, want to go to the movies? When you can authentically say, yeah, that sounds like fun, right? That authentic frequency is so powerful. And that's the other part of this throat chakra month, is about, use your words and align it with your heart and start dreaming like crazy. And that's why I called this painting Dream, or they wanted me to, because they were really wanting us to dream and fantasize with no inhibition. Okay. They want us to dream, but they, with that same kind of innocence of a child. And that's partly why this image of this person is looking up, because it's about dreaming like crazy, like allowing yourself to think about your future in beautiful terms. Like, I'm with a loving partner, and I, feels like I'm on vacation every day for my job, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm making an impact, whatever it is for you, right? Or my kids are happy, and it can be material things. There's nothing wrong with wanting a bigger house or a nice car, right? There really isn't. And allowing yourself without any limitation to dream, because they're saying this month and for the rest of the year and beyond, they're saying this moment, it's really fertile grounds. But it's that special frequency. That's the special recipe, is really aligning it with your heart. So really thinking about, what do you want? Maybe taking time, even in this video, to pause it and write down these things, or write down some of this little homework to do later, to really think about these things. What does your dream life look like? You're allowed to think about it and fantasize. And they're saying, please do not go into that thinking space or that adult space where you have to like make it happen. You have to have this plan. That's not where we're at yet. They're almost like, it's so hard for us to receive that it's a really important space. And maybe this is easy for you and it's not hard for you. Maybe it's harder for you. I don't know. Wherever you're at on your journey, just dream, see the world as a happy, beautiful place, right? The more a lot of us can dream like that, where everyone's getting along, and people that are hurt, stop hurting people and move into their own vulnerability, where they're able to heal and feel the love that they are. It's like, let's really dream. Let's dream about dragons and mystical places that are, not of this world and in another universe, Dream. But dream for you? What do you want? What do you need? What does that feel like? Very fertile grounds this month. So that being said, we have to look at the shadow aspect of that, is where we're people pleasing, so where we're not being authentic, so we can be authentic and then begin to dream this innocent, childlike wonder. And that's partly this energy. This painting is just this beautiful, delicious energy of these colors and just the wonder of even the snow coming down, right? So this magic, really believing in magic again. Because they're saying partly the earth is awakening. So if you can really allow yourself to communicate with these other living things on this planet, like the trees and the insects and the birds, we're in the north where it's just beginning spring. So we're hearing all the birds, which is beautiful. And partly another theme for this month, besides dreaming, and it's all connected. So wherever you're listening to this is this divine spark. As we're moving through some of these heavy energies of our subconscious and our shadow, which can feel very heavy at times. And they say, because of this amount of change that's taking place, this is what Spirit has said to me, and it's my spiritual entourage, because of this change, because of this intense change that we're going through, it does trigger our primal part of our brain, the part of us, the animalistic part of our brain that goes into fight, flight, or freeze. This part of us that is built for survival. Whenever we're going through change, that's usually what triggers. And depending on your trauma or your triggers, right, you might fight, flight, or freeze. But knowing if that is happening, because that will happen, it's happening for everybody, know that at the same time, there is a divine spark that is being activated within you. It's bigger than all of us. It's like impacting us on a cellular level. It's impacting the cells of the planet. It's impacting the cells within the water. It's infiltrating our reality. So if you can imagine, even in an imaginative way, like in a creative way, that literally light within these cells is sparked, meaning it's activated, it's turned on. So in some ways, that's why everyone is waking up, even people that have not been aware so far, aware of the light that they are, aware of the soul in the body. Like everybody's kind of waking up to that, or they have opportunities to do that. Everyone's given the same opportunity. And it really is, this is a fun place to be, and we all can choose yes or no, and there's no judgment either way. It really is this just kind of a invitation, if you want to or not. And if this resonates with you, this is about a feeling space, right? If this resonates with you, just say yes and start really looking for that divine spark and what that might mean. Because they say, and that's partly why there's this light in the throat in the painting, it's creating and dreaming from this divine spark, from the soul and the light that you are, who you are when you're not here. That's what this painting is partly about too. It's about the soul part of your being. And though it is also about the human experience, it's a lot about the soul and who you are and why you came and why you are so excited to be here during this huge transformational time. And it is about incorporating the ego in the subconscious, and it is about learning how to do those things, how to integrate the shadow. That's part of our duality. It's not about learning how to rise above it and not experience it, because you wouldn't have chose to come here. It is about choosing to experience both. And while we're doing that and activating this divine spark, really start thinking about that before you make choices, right? Before in thinking about that, the soul of who you are, your higher self or whatever, and integrating and thinking about that into every part of your life, right? And how you're eating, what you're doing, are you following your rhythm? Like all of these beautiful moments. And the more you can cultivate an awareness of that spark, it just kind of keeps growing exponentially. And the power of your thoughts become extremely powerful. Power of your thoughts, power of your words become extremely powerful. The more you can allow yourself to be your authentic self, that is your divine spark. We're not meant to be robots and all the same. We're meant to have our beautiful personalities. Some are more flamboyant, some are more shy. Some of us they're teaching us humbleness, some are teaching us bravery. I mean, whatever your divine spark, your unique expression is, that's what this is about too. And you're meant to have that uniqueness, and it's not about better than, it's about celebrating these differences in our divine sparks. That's your own song, your own beautiful song, and it's taken many lifetimes to even create this human expression that you have now. So that's what the divine spark is. And it's connected partly to these crystals that you see in the painting, because the crystals represent this new information. Like crystals hold information just like computers. And so it's like a new information available to those that feel passionate about that. You can bring in new information if you want. We've never been here before. So if you are open to it and aligning yourself up with your higher self, with your heart, there is a lot of beautiful things things awaiting you, information, energy, and so inviting that into your practice, inviting that into your life. And that is what these crystals really represent. And these rings around the crystals and the bird are just like reverberations of coming from our throat chakras, and how, as we're speaking our truth, we affect reality in ways that we can't comprehend with our brains. So speak your truth. It's time to do that. But I do want to say it is time to speak your truth, but noticing that this painting, she does not have her mouth open, right? So what does that mean? It's kind of like it's both. It is about speaking your truth for sure. But in some ways, it's about being your truth, letting yourself be it. And that is about your internal temple. Can you allow yourself to be a musician? Can you allow yourself to be an artist or a teacher or a great leader? But it's going to be in that vulnerability, not in that egoic space, like, hey, I've been this role my whole life, so I'm really good at it. It's not, not necessarily what you're good at is what you're meant to do. And that's a hard one to swallow, so I'm going to say it again. It's like, not what you're good at is not necessarily what you're meant to do. Sometimes it is, if it really does light you up and bring you joy. So really thinking about what your heart wants, what you truly want, right? And that's a quiet voice. That's not like, hey, I'm great at public speaking and I'm really good at telling people what to do, so I'm a great leader. It's like, no, does my heart really want that? No, I really just want to be a writer and just be quiet, right? It's not about conditioning and the role that you play because you were the oldest, and so then you really are, wanting, it's like normal for you to be in the leadership role or take control, but that might not be what your heart wants. Your heart might just want to break, right? Do you see the difference? So really thinking about that and allowing yourself, whatever that quiet voice is, allowing yourself to be it. And it is a quiet space. You don't have to give that away to anybody. You first have to allow yourself to be it. And it's quiet, it's powerful. And the most sacred, powerful things are meant to keep for ourselves. Those are very special, sacred moments between you, your higher self, the universe, God. And allowing yourself to be that. And that might take some unraveling depending on your trauma. And there's nothing wrong with how long it takes you to get to that space of allowing yourself to be it. But that's where Spirit's asking us to go. Will you allow yourself to be it? And then as you're doing that, this internal, right? She's not speaking, her mouth is shut. So what is she saying inside of her head? That's where Spirit really wants us to think about too. How are you talking to yourself? Is it kind? Is it loving? It's essential as we move forward that we begin to repair our internal world. This is the divine feminine, where we feel loved and supported by ourselves, within ourselves. We feel the connection and the love that we have with ourselves. We can't really do that externally if we don't have it internally. And so this is, and it will be, a theme forever, depending on where you're at, to repair that, because you deserve to have that love every moment of every day. And it really is there. It's surrounding you all the time, whether you're aware of it or not. But you won't be able to feel it if you don't allow for it to come in. And you allow for it to come in by first you thinking beautiful, positive thoughts, like you're capable. You got this. Well, I'm scared. I know you're scared. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I'm going to protect you. Like you creating the most beautiful, loving, supportive, safe environment inside your own head, inside your own being. One where you can run to as sanctuary to feel the love. That's what we're being asked to do. How is your thinking self around all of these things towards yourself? So there's so much more to the throat chakra and all of that, but this is what the themes of this painting are. You know, because this is where we eat, right? This is where we allow food, sustenance in our body, right? And does that align with us? Food, drink. Is that really good for our body? This is a temple, right? This is a sacred temple. Our bodies, our physical bodies, it's housing our souls, our divine spark. And how are we taking care of it? How are we feeding it? So how are we feeding it with our thoughts? And how are we feeding it physically with food and water? And, you know, what are we putting into our bodies? That's what we're also being asked to this month. What are we doing? How are we taking care of ourselves? The human part, the body, it begins with what we start putting in our mouth, right? What we allow in, and is that loving and supportive? And even noticing that. For my own personal journey, I've had to cut out a lot of things because my body didn't like it. You know, and that's where everyone's journey is different, and it's not a cookie cutter kind of thing, right? It's just about you learning how to love you. But start paying attention to that. Spirit's just inviting you to love yourself more. And these are some of the themes and the information that's coming through. Feel this painting. I'm going to leave it at the end here for you just to kind of sit with it with a little bit of music and just kind of sit with it and enjoy it a little bit. And you can fast forward to that. I love being able to share my gift. And I would love to hear your comments about what it is that you feel with this painting. And all right, until next time, until next month, namaste.